This episode contains adult themes and is not appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, the world. This is They Will Kill, a true crime podcast. I'm Courtney Eck.
And I'm Sadie Eck.
And we're sisters, and we talk about murder twice a week, every week. And it's that time of the week. Murder time.
Here we are.
Here we are.
All of a sudden.
Great.
Again.
I think tonight's a long one, so I will just shut my face and let you take away the murder.
All right. I wish I could take it away. I mean, like, remove
forever.
It.
For good.
Yeah. From the history books.
I wish you could take murder away from the history books, too.
So the other day, I was re-listening to Radio Rental. I'm sure, most people out there have heard it. If not, go listen. It's amazing. Spooky stories.
True stories.
Yeah, true stories. Really, really good. So I was re-listening to season 1, which I think came out last year, sometime 2019.
Yep.
And episode 2, the first half of it, this woman tells a really scary story.
So scary.
About a man. She wakes up in the middle of the night and she hears a knocking at her window. She thinks it's her boyfriend playing a prank on her. She opens the blinds and it's not her boyfriend.
Nope.
And it's so scary. And the whole exchange, she's also a total badass and calls him a douchebag. And it's just really amazing. And it turns out that he is later caught and convicted of being a serial killer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I had never heard of him.
Nope.
And it turns out that I listen to podcasts differently now than I ever have before. Right?
Like, wait, is that murder? What are you talking? Yes. Yes.
And so tonight, I'm going to tell you the story of the baseline killer.
Should you tell the people what he said to her when he knocked on the window and she opened the window?
Can I talk to you?
That can go straight to hell. Can you imagine?
No. And I think that's all he said to her,
yes.
Right? She never... Ugh.
Can I talk to you?
Can I talk to you?
No,
Ugh.
As a matter of fact, you can't, douchebag. Close the window, go. That's best reaction she could have had.
Best.
That's so scary. Like, When a Stranger Calls, that movie from the 70s. I think they redid it when he says, "Have you checked the children?"
Ugh.
Like, that shit kept me up at night for all of my childhood.
Yeah, it still keeps me up at night. It's so terrifying.
So terrifying.
Huge, big time trigger warning for sexual assault. It's brutal. There's a lot of it. Mm-hmm. Heads up. Yeah, it's bad. In August 2005, violent crime started to pop up along Baseline Road in Phoenix, Arizona at an alarming rate. First was a group of 3 teenage girls who were forced behind a building by a man with a gun and sexually assaulted.
3 at a time? No.
Mm-hmm. Teenagers.
Oh, God.
The events seemed isolated at first. They spanned multiple jurisdictions, so police departments would not immediately see a pattern. Then the crimes shifted from rape to murder, and it would take police months to connect the crimes.
Whoa.
On September 9th, 2005, 19-year-old Georgia Thompson was found on her back in the parking lot of a Tempe apartment complex. She had been shot once in the head at close range. Her keys were still clutched in her hand. She wore an orange t-shirt that said, quote, "Better luck next time."
Oh, no. That's so scary.
So awful.
God.
Her pants were unbuttoned, but she had not been sexually assaulted. Her purse and cell phone were missing. The only evidence found at the scene was a spent .38 caliber cartridge casing.
Ugh.
Georgia had just moved to Arizona 6 weeks before her murder. She was number 6 of 9 children, and she moved to Arizona hoping to start a career as a model. Her only contact in Arizona was a man she'd met on MySpace. She was hoping for a fresh start. Yeah, her mom talks about how nervous she was for her to move to Arizona by herself, and she had a hard time getting a job, so she had to she started working at Hooters and at a strip club.
Oh, buddy. I know. If you're moving to Arizona to start your modeling career, it's probably going to take a little while. Just heads up.
Right.
Poor sweetheart.
I know. She even had tried to stay with a friend that night because one of her customers at the strip club she worked at was stalking her.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but he was asleep and didn't answer her phone calls.
Oh, no.
It's so sad. It's...
God damn it.
Yeah. Her cell phone was used once after George's death, but never used again after that, and the police could not track the phone to her killer's location. After this, sexual assaults came one after the other. 1 week after George's death, a woman was raped shortly before 10 a.m., just blocks from the spot where George's body was found.
I've said it before, but daytime assault, daytime murder, it's 2,000 times scarier for me.
Yep. This guy doesn't give any fucks. I mean,
Clearly.
It's just chilling.
Clearly.
Yeah. 5 days later, this time at 10 p.m., two sisters, 13 and 14 years old, were assaulted while walking home from the city park. This part's pretty brutal. Just skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
The oldest sister was pregnant.
According to God.
According to the girls, their attacker held a gun to the older sister's belly while he forced the younger girl to perform oral sex on him.
Oh my God.
He then attempted to rape her but was not successful. As he fumbled with his condom, one sister noticed that he had put the gun down. She grabbed it and tried to shoot but could not figure out how to fire it.
Fuck yeah, good for you.
The attacker wrestled with her and the other sister seized the gun. She could not figure out how to shoot it either. The attacker got the gun back, pointed it at the sisters, and made them beg for their lives. He ultimately decided to let them live. But hell yeah. I mean, girls...
Seriously.
That's
good.
So brave. It's so fucking brave.
So fucking brave.
After the attack, he rubbed dirt all over the younger sister's body to try and cover up any traces of DNA left behind by his saliva, and then he fled.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was a smarty pants too. He understood DNA. He would wear a condom. He tried to be really careful.
Right. But also just attacked, like, women in broad daylight.
The sisters called police after the attack, and despite trying to destroy evidence, DNA was able to be recovered.
Yes.
But it wasn't tested for over 9 months.
Excuse me, what?
For 9 months.
What?
And we'll talk about it later, but part of the problem was because he tried to cover it up, their sample wasn't very big. And they had to use a new technique where they can extract DNA from the Y chromosome. But only certain labs could do that. So it took them, I don't know that it was for lack of trying. It just took time for them to figure out where to put the DNA, which lab to send it to.
Makes me feel better, but that still sucks.
Yeah, it's way too long.
Yeah, if somebody's attacking sisters in broad daylight on like that, that's a priority sort of scenario.
A few days later, a man jumped through a fast food drive-thru window, snatched a purse and other items from an employee, and leapt back out the window.
What?
He spotted a car with a mom and her 12-year-old daughter inside.
What?
He pulled out his handgun and climbed inside the car.
Oh my God.
I know, man. He had them drive to an isolated location where he raped them both.
Oh, holy shit, fuckers.
I know.
I have never.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. On November 3rd, a man with dreadlocks and a fishing hat entered a store and robbed it at gunpoint. And it's one of those, like, you can picture it in a gift.
Like a fake hat, right?
Like a fisher, like a Gilligan's Island fisherman's hat with the dreadlocks attached.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about.
Cool.
9 minutes later, just across the street, the same man abducted a woman who had been placing items into a charity donation bin. He pointed his gun at her and demanded she give him a ride. She said no. He told her he just robbed a store and needed to get out of the area. He grabbed her and dragged her into the car.
Jesus.
After driving out of the area, he raped her. He then took her driver's license and made her tell him about her family. He then said, quote, "I know where you live now. I know you've got a kid. Go to the police and he's dead."
My God.
Luckily, she didn't listen to him, and she reported her attack to the police. Very unfortunately, when the police arrived to take her report, one of the first things allegedly said to her was, quote, "You don't look like you were just raped."
Shut your mouth.
Yep. The article that I got that part from was talking about how in the trial she is telling the story very bravely and mentions this. And one of the higher-ups was at the trial and heard that, and they say his eyes got really big and he immediately got out his phone and started dialing numbers and like got up to leave to figure out who the fuck said that shit.
Really?
Yeah,
Good.
pissed.
Good.
Pissed, because that's bullshit.
Bullshit.
Fucking
Even
bullshit.
if the woman is standing there fucking tap dancing, you believe her.
Yes.
You keep that shit to yourself
Yes.
if that's your first thought.
Right, believe her or not, but you don't say that shit out loud.
No.
Like, you believe her, but if you're a dickhead and you don't believe her,
Right.
you don't say it out loud.
Right.
4 days later, there were 3 robberies just south of where the previous attacks took place. After robbing 2 restaurants, he went out on the sidewalk, pulled out his gun, and robbed 4 pedestrians.
Jesus. So this guy is just, like, he loves this shit.
He loves it, and he's getting away with it.
Yeah. So his
he's
whole thing is just like, fucking, you know what would be really crazy? Jumping through a drive-thru and then doing this and then...
Yeah, just going to do whatever the fuck I want. Nobody's going to ever catch me.
Wow. Wow.
Yep, he even fired his gun at them as he fled.
Also the fact that the police, sorry, just to go back a paragraph, the fact that the police said you don't look like somebody who was just raped when there's a guy just fucking willy-nilly crazy town raping everybody makes him even stupider and more of an asshole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, he's like, he wins the award for the biggest fucking asshole in the history of the world.
Not only are you the biggest asshole in the history of the world, but you're also stupid.
Right.
Because put some fucking dots together, dude.
Right.
Somebody has already raped a bunch of people. So it's
right. Like in very quick succession.
The chances of this woman having had been raped are very high. Anyway, sorry. Fuck that guy. I hate him.
I know. When I read that, I was like ripping my computer in half. Finally, police were starting to realize that they had a problem and that these attacks and robberies were most likely being carried out by the same brazen and extremely dangerous man.
Yeah, no shit.
Before we started, I sent you the map.
Yes.
Of all those dots.
Yes.
And a couple of the murders and attacks took place outside of this little tiny area off of Baseline Road in Phoenix. But they were very concentrated.
Yeah, like right all up on top of each other.
Yeah, so it was just like bam, 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 one after the other. On December 12th, 2005, at around 6:45 p.m., a man was at his catering business washing dishes. Outside, he heard a scream, followed by 2 loud bangs. Thinking it was kids throwing a football against his dumpster, as they had before, he opened the door to tell them to leave. Instead, he saw a man in a hooded sweatshirt crouching over a motionless body. The man immediately rose to his feet, pointed a handgun at the caterer, and fired once from a distance of about 10 feet, but the gun failed to discharge.
Oof.
The caterer ran back inside and locked the door. The gunman ran after him and tried to open the door, but he couldn't get in. I know. The caterer called 911 and waited for police. They arrived quickly, finding the body of 39-year-old Tina Washington. Tina was a single mom of 3 boys. She was a longtime employee of a local daycare center. Everyone she worked with, especially the children, loved her. She'd been shot in the head at close range. Her special, quote, mother's ring, which had her 3 sons' names engraved on it, and some other jewelry, was missing. Police suspected that she'd been abducted from the bus stop, where she was waiting to catch the bus after work, and was walked to the more remote location to be sexually assaulted.
Right.
When she resisted, he murdered her instead.
Ugh.
The location where she was murdered was very close to where the 3 friends had been assaulted at the very, very beginning.
Right.
When Tina's son learned of her murder, he said, quote, "I thought she'd be here forever, then in a blink of an eye. She was my mother and my father, and I lost the most important person in my life."
Fucking awful.
It's fucking awful. In January, police received what they thought was their first big break in Georgia Thompson's case. While being interviewed by police in Kentucky on burglary charges, a man named James Dwayne Mullins claimed responsibility for Georgia's murder. And Georgia was the one that was shot in her apartment parking lot, apartment complex.
Yep.
Mullins told police that he'd shot Georgia as she attempted to rob him outside the Scottsdale strip club where she worked. However, Georgia's body was found almost 10 miles away in Tempe at her apartment complex.
Weird.
Despite police knowing that she was killed at her apartment and not at the strip club, they arrested Mullins on second-degree murder charges and worked to have him extradited back to Arizona.
Why would somebody lie about that?
Because people are stupid.
But that's just the craziest thing to lie about.
I know. I really don't understand it.
Which is probably why the police were like, well, this doesn't line up, but also, why would you lie about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too much drugs.
Too much drugs, not enough attention.
Right. Well, it turns out that once police connected George's case with the other baseline killer's murders, Mullins retracted his statement and denied being in Arizona at the time. So at first he was like, yeah, I totally did that one. And then he was like, oh, God, no.
No. I don't want to be a serial killer. I just want to be a killer of one lady. What?
Right. I know. It's so fucked up.
So fucking weird.
On February 20th, 2006, the bodies of 38-year-old Romelia Vargas and 34-year-old Mirna Palma Roman were found inside their food truck. The women would make breakfast burritos for the local construction workers. The truck was on a street just south of Baseline Road. They had been shot in the head at close range. Police suspected robbery was the motive of the crime. Their murders were not immediately linked to the other murders happening in the area.
Damn it.
Less than a month later, on March 15th, 23-year-old Chow Cho was found in the parking lot of Yoshi's Japanese restaurant where he worked. He had been shot to death. He was described as a, quote, very nice and polite young man. He left work that night and offered to give his coworker, 20-year-old Liliana Sanchez Cabrera, a ride home. Liliana's body was found the next morning in a different parking lot about a mile away from where Chow was shot. Both victims had been shot in the head.
God damn it.
That same day, a man was arriving to work about a mile from Yoshi's restaurant. He parked his car behind the building where he worked. When he got out of his car, he noticed drag marks in the gravel and what appeared to be patches of blood on the stones. He called police, who searched the area but found nothing. 2 weeks later, the same man noticed a strong smell when he came to work. He had his dog with him that day, and the dog ran to a pile of debris between two buildings nearby. The dog was so insistent that the man moved some boards and uncovered a bare arm and leg.
No.
He had uncovered the body of 26-year-old Kristen Nicole Gibbons. She had been shot in the head. Police were able to connect her to the murders of Liliana and Chow, as well as Tina Washington, after the bullet casings from the different crime scenes all seemed to match.
Jesus.
On April 10th, 37-year-old Sofia Nunez was found murdered in the bathtub of her West Phoenix home, which was actually far from the baseline killer's normal stalking ground. She was sort of an exception. Tragically, she was found by her 7-year-old son.
Oh, fuck that.
I know. She had taken the day off of work so she could attend a giant march through downtown Phoenix, which was part of a national day of protest in favor of immigration reform.
I hate it.
Me so much. When she failed to pick up her son at school, he walked home and crawled under the garage door, which had been left open about a foot.
Nope.
He heard the water running in his mother's bathroom, so he assumed that she was in the shower. But she didn't come out, and then he noticed the water was running under the bathroom door and soaking the bedroom carpet.
This is so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's hard. It's one of those where it's like, you say the words out loud, but it's hard to, like, if you put yourself in that position.
No. It's like, it really, that's the thing that people always say. It feels like something out of a movie. Like some things are so awful that it feels like you could only dream it up as a fantasy. This is one of those. I mean, all of these things are those, very much those things, but ugh.
Yeah, 7. I know. He walked in and found her half-dressed and under the water. She'd been raped and shot in the head. He tried to administer CPR, which is just like...
No.
And then he ran to the neighbors for help. When police arrived, they managed to collect DNA and a bullet from the crime scene. On May 1st, a woman was abducted in her car. And we're almost there, guys. I know, it's a lot.
It's a lot of murders. And, like, the worst. This guy...
And attacks, yeah.
Just went through the book of horrible things you can do to people and just clicked them right off the list, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did.
Psychopath.
Yeah. On May 1st, a woman was abducted in her car. A man who was wearing a latex Halloween mask ordered her to drive to a quiet place off the main road.
Ugh.
She was terrified and did as she was told. Once they pulled off the road, she was raped. This crime happened outside of the 2 restaurants that had been robbed the previous November. Mm-hmm. The one where he robbed the restaurants and then held up the 4 people outside. And
right.
Yeah.
He just fucking hates that street so much. Hates it.
So, yeah. On June 29th, the baseline killer committed his final murder in a lightning-quick attack that was caught on video.
Ugh.
At around 9:30 p.m., 37-year-old Carmen Miranda was on the phone with her boyfriend as she vacuumed her car at a car wash. She told her boyfriend that a panhandler was approaching her. She then screamed, and the phone went dead. Her boyfriend called police. Then he called Carmen's sons, and they all raced to the car wash, but she was gone.
Shit.
I mean, talk about things that are made for movies.
Seriously, I literally vacuumed my car at the car wash today.
Yeah. So awful.
I also hate lightning fast murder.
Mm-hmm. Hours later, Carmen was found dead in her car behind a building next door to the car wash. She had been shot in the head and her pants were found unbuttoned. When police retrieved the surveillance footage from a nearby gas station, it showed a blurry image of a man wearing a Gilligan hat and a dreadlock wig shuffle up to Carmen. He abruptly grabs her and throws her in the back seat of the car. Then he gets in and drives off. After killing Carmen, the baseline killer went into hiding. He had forced himself on at least 33 victims over 13 attacks. He killed 8 women and 1 man and committed countless robberies.
Oh, God.
Yep.
How do you even find the fucking time?
Yeah, right?
Right.
I don't know. As time went on and more evidence pointed to the crimes being committed by a serial killer, authorities decided it was time to put a task force together.
What?
And I don't know. I didn't write it down. I don't think this was like after everything was over. I think it's at some point while this was happening, they put the task force together, but still, it took them some time.
I'm going to go ahead and make a judgment call based on the names of the victims that you've listed off so far, that probably some of these people weren't as high a priority as victims because they were black or brown.
Right. I would say all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Not a rich neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of brown people.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of crime in general.
Yep.
Yeah. They decided to finally take the information public, hoping to get more leads into who was doing this.
Mm-hmm.
What they knew so far was the suspect was a dark-skinned man with a light mustache. He had very dark eyes. Some victims described them as being fully black.
No.
Yeah.
I think that woman on the radio rental, she said he had eyes like black orbs.
Yes. Do you want me to show you a picture of him?
Yeah. Why do the black-eyed people stalk me?
So creepy.
Yuck.
Yeah, man.
Fucking
black eyes.
Black eyes. Sometimes black eyes are cool. I have a couple friends who have them in a cool way, like a mystical cool way. This guy has them in a awful,
I'm gonna rape and murder you
bug
way.
monster way. Yes.
Yeah.
Dead eyes. Ugh. No.
Yep. He usually snatched people off the street. So we're back into what they've learned about the killer.
Right.
He usually snatched people off the street or while they were sitting in their car. He would often wear a disguise such as a wig with dreadlocks, Halloween mask, or ski mask, and would often attempt to impersonate a homeless man or a drug addict. Most of the women he murdered had not been raped. They guessed that he'd killed the ones who put up a fight. He would pose the bodies after they were dead, often unbuttoning their pants and pulling them down slightly. He was armed and always used the same weapon, which is a .38 caliber handgun, to commit his crimes, and he was clearly very dangerous.
Yeah.
They started circulating a composite sketch around the city and offered a $100,000 reward for information that would lead to an arrest. They spent thousands of hours providing enhanced surveillance of key areas where the attacks and murders took place. They followed up on thousands of leads. They interviewed over 100 suspects and even had surveillance teams follow a few of them to try and catch them committing a crime. Police were focusing on trying to find the gun used in the crimes and also to link the DNA collected to a suspect.
Yep.
So the DNA taken from the sisters who were assaulted back at the beginning of the baseline killer spree was finally tested when the evidence ended up with a different jurisdiction. So like we talked about in the beginning, they put it into a different lab to see if that lab could
have
extract
luck
the DNA.
with it. Right.
When they got their results, it matched a man named Mark Goudeau.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark Goudeau was born in 1964 in Phoenix, Arizona. He was the second youngest of 13 children.
Fuck.
His dad was a car lot attendant and his mom was a housekeeper. His father was very strict, and despite having a very large family, he maintained an incredibly orderly household.
You kind of have to at a certain point.
Yes.
It's like,
I mean,
John and Kate +8. Like, that woman's not the nicest person, but who can blame her?
right?
You don't want chaos to reign supreme. You better keep some shit in orderly. Keep a checklist or some of some kind.
Seriously, I know. Our mother came over the other day, and she's a pretty tidy woman.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd say very tidy.
Yep.
And I didn't really get that gene. I mean, I try to keep a clean house, but
yeah.
Anyway, she came in, and I was just sort of like, I lifted my hands up in the air and shrugged my shoulders. I was like, and I don't know, Mom.
Yeah.
These kids and the dogs and.
What does that look like?
I don't know.
13 children in a house.
Yeah. Luckily, they're all, like, by the time you get to the end of your 13th, you've got grown-ass children.
Right. Well, I think that's part of the benefit of having that many kids is, like, the oldest ones can help with the youngest ones. But, whew. Still. I can't even make a sandwich when you guys come over and the nephews are here. And I'm like, halfway through, I'm like, 3, 4, fuck it. I don't know. Well, somebody's going to have to die. It's too many sandwiches.
I don't have enough time.
How much mayonnaise? Spreading mayonnaise is so annoying. And then I'm do it 3 times, up to 5 times. 13 times?
Nope. Too many.
Nope.
That's way too many times. He was often verbally abusive and was an alcoholic. His parents eventually divorced, and his father died when Goudeau was 12.
Uh-huh.
In high school, he excelled at football, but he wasn't interested in his studies and dropped out of school.
That's why he was so spry. I'm looking at the picture of him. I'm like, he does not look like somebody who could, like, spring through a window and back out. But if he was a football player, he probably learned all those maneuvers.
Yep. In 1982, when Goudeau was 18, he and one of his brothers were arrested for repeatedly raping a woman.
Fuck.
But the charges were eventually dropped. In 1987, he was arrested for trespassing and driving under the influence. In 1989, Goudeau was arrested for savagely raping and beating a woman senseless, then chasing 2 witnesses and threatening them with a gun. His story was that the victim willingly performed oral sex on him, and then the pair decided to take a bath afterward. Once they were in the bathroom, 2 unknown men came in and raped and beat the woman.
Likely story, dude. Yeah, it just happens constantly.
The victim was so badly beaten that she was not able to be interviewed by the police for 3 days following her attack.
Jesus.
But once she was able, she did not agree with Goudeau's version of events.
Oh, what a big surprise.
Right. She alleged that Goudeau beat her with a shotgun in the apartment, banged her head against a barbell repeatedly, raped her, and then hurled her into the tub where he turned on the water and tried to drown her. Amazingly, she was able to flee, half naked, into the apartment parking lot with Goudeau in pursuit.
Good for you.
Seriously.
Slippery, all traumatized, beaten.
Yeah.
And you get out of there.
Amazing.
I have zero idea how you pull something like that off. Good for
Miracle. Like strength. Amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
She wins the awards.
Big time.
So they run out into the parking lot. Goudeau is in pursuit. Luckily, he backed off, but only after threatening witnesses. The victim was then able to get help.
God.
After she was done telling her story, she gave authorities Goudeau's name and address. She later said that she, quote, felt like she was in the room with the devil. So even at this point, he's clearly showing signs that point to a sexually oriented sociopathic personality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And
yes.
Very dangerous.
Yes. Very dangerous.
Goudeau should have spent decades in prison after this attack. But guess what?
He did not.
He was able to enter a plea agreement.
See, you guys, I will
no plea agreements on
violent crimes. Never, never, ever, ever, never.
No. The guy's got some marijuana. Give him a plea agreement.
Marijuana charge. Yeah, fine. White collar crime. Fuck it. I hate those guys, but fine. fine,
Even so.
all day long.
Yeah.
Especially
Drug
if he's
abuse
like, I
should
can
get-
get
yeah.
you an actual murderer or somebody violent if I get a plea for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of instances for you to show off your little DA skills and get a plea agreement.
But brutally raping, beating, trying to drown a woman,
Under no circumstance.
no.
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 What are you pleading? What is he pleading?
Guilty.
But I mean, what's the, just to get the conviction? I don't know.
Well, then he doesn't have to go to trial. I know.
No, I mean the DA, what, or the prosecutor, why would they plead something like that? I know
So they
it's
don't
just
have
to
to
get
take
the
him to
conviction.
trial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's to get the conviction, but it's still
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
So stupid. Even though he almost killed his victim, a deputy county attorney allowed Godot to plead to 3 counts of aggravated assault, but with the stipulation that allegations of, quote, dangerousness would be dropped at sentencing.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, he did assault her, but not dangerously.
No.
It's fine.
He's not dangerous.
He's not dangerous. There's no dangerousness. He's just had a bad daddy.
This allowed Godot to be eligible for probation.
Cool.
Yep,
Probation
so meaning that
super
he-
helpful. It definitely
Yeah.
helps solve crime.
Right. He has the option of doing the good time and all that bullshit.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Very well familiar.
So then, oh, sorry, I forgot. Then, a year after the assault, and just weeks before he was to be sentenced, he robbed a supermarket to get money to buy crack cocaine. And he kidnapped a woman on his way out of the store.
No.
Yes. For some reason, he let her go without harming her. But fucking still. He hasn't even been sentenced for his first
Yeah.
attack. And he's robbing fucking stores. And
God damn it. Well, again, it's like these guys get away with it a billion times. And so why wouldn't they
times.
continue to get away with it? And guess what? They do.
Yes. Yep. So instead of taking away his plea deal for the attack, the prosecution gave him another plea deal for the robbery and kidnapping.
God damn it.
I know. And the robbery and kidnapping, they just tacked 4 more years onto his sentence.
Probation?
No. 4 years
Or just
in prison.
in general? God.
Yeah. So he was eventually sentenced to a total of 21 years in prison. But in 2004, after serving only 13 years, 39-year-old Godot was granted clemency and released.
Why?
Yeah.
So he wasn't like a fucking awesome dude in prison.
Well, my next sentence, actually. My next sentence is, he had been a model inmate while in prison.
Why is it every time? I mean, some of these
Sociopaths,
guys just
man.
love it in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Sociopaths.
Well,
He
and
loved it.
they bide their time being good boys because they know
Right.
ultimately they'll get out and they can have their fun again. God, terrifying.
I also wonder about, maybe being the 11th child out of 13. I'm just going to guess that he probably didn't get a lot of attention growing up. And you kind
Totally.
of wonder if there's, part of that, being in prison, having boundaries and, told what to do. And
Yes.
it probably is, in some ways, sort of nice.
Well, I mean, you read a lot of these cases where even extremely violent offenders kind of flourish under those.
Circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do well. They like the structure. They like having their peers around them. I'm sure they're manipulating the living goddamn shit out of everybody in prison.
Yes. Yeah, and they're smart. He's clearly a smart guy and just getting whatever he wants. And
Yep.
honing his fucking sociopathic skills.
Totally. Learning from the other guys, how to do it better when he gets out.
So while in prison, he took advantage of education and rehabilitation programs. He stayed away from drugs and gangs while serving his time. He never received a single disciplinary measure while in prison.
Wild.
I know. That can't be easy.
No, the guy can't even not rob places for 2 weeks. He just-
Right. Well, also, I think the prison rules are in the strict enough where you get written up for everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if you're peripherally involved, you don't
Right.
start it, but you're just in the fucking cafe or cafeteria. Cafe. Want to meet me in the
Ooh la la.
cafe? Yeah, I'd love to. Love
Clearly,
it.
you've been to prison a lot.
Could have a wonderful.
Can I get soy milk in my latte?
Yeah, exactly.
Prison guard.
Half calf venti.
During his last 5 years in custody, he was allowed to work on the outside, earning minimum wage. So sort of like a work release program. At his parole hearing, among the people testifying on his behalf was his wife, Wendy Carr, who he had been dating at the time of the attack that sent him to prison. Mm-hmm. And they were married during the first year of his prison term.
How romantic.
He was released on parole and quickly found work in construction. He moved in with his wife in the house that she rented near Baseline Avenue, in the middle of where the majority of the crimes took place. Mm-hmm. The rapes and murders began 1 year later.
That's just awesome.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at the map I sent you, and I'm going to post this on all of our places we post things, that little cluster, like the big, it's not little, it's the big cluster of crimes.
Yep.
His house is just like smack dab in the middle of it.
That guy's just lazy. He's like, man, it's like when you're sitting watching TV and you're like, fuck, I really want that. I know there's ice cream in the freezer. Mm-hmm. I want it so bad.
Yep. It's like how when I lived in Portland, I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars at the convenience store that was a block away.
Penny Market?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I could just go and get my chips or whatever.
Barefoot wine, what's that one with a duck on it? Like all under $10 wines. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Ragu, spaghetti sauce. You're like, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Just whatever.
Frozen
ramen. Mac and cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, it's close.
I miss the Penny Market.
Me too.
It's an episode of, what's Jerry Seinfeld's web series, Coffee and Cars with Closers or whatever.
Coffee and Cars with Closers?
I saw a mug this week. I mean, it's very common saying coffee is for closers, but comedians in cars drinking coffee or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Jerry Seinfeld, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They did one in Portland with Fred Armisen, and they're like, Penny Market? That sounds like the place that Jennifer Aniston works in an indie movie. And that was our market. That was our market.
So on September 6th, we're back into the real time.
To the horrible time. Yep.
On September 6, 2006, after gathering enough evidence to connect him to the attack on the two sisters, police arrested Godot in front of his house as he got out of his pickup truck on the way home from work.
Thank God. Thank you.
Right. It happened to be his 42nd birthday.
Happy birthday, you bastard.
Yep. He was charged with 19 counts, including sexual assault, sexual abuse, kidnapping, and aggravated assault. And one charge of possessing cocaine at the time of his arrest.
Well, that's a shocking detail. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, you don't blitz kill like 8 people and rape 33 others without a little...
drugs in your system. His neighbors were shocked to hear he was arrested and called Godot, quote, sweet and, quote, hardworking.
Yeah.
They saw him with his wife or out tending his yard on the little house they shared. He was described as handsome with an athlete's figure, the type of guy you would want to buy a drink for if he sat down next to you at the bar.
Ugh.
I know. Just watch your backs, you guys.
I know, seriously. I have a neighbor who I'm 100,000% sure he would never listen to this podcast, but he comes out without his family. Like, I live a block and a half from Lake Michigan, and he comes out to his little lake house, sits on his butt in the yard with a bucket all day long, and just picks the leaves and picks the imperfections out of the lawn, just scoots, picks. And that guy...
that guy probably is totally normal. It's the guy like next door to him that's super friendly and nice.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad. Like, Laura's always like, oh, God. And I'm like, no, man, he's so nice. And he's probably, just perfectly. But then, my hot, fucking kind, wealthy, got all the girls' dates all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That guy. He's the one.
Yep. I know. I was convinced that my next door neighbor was the Delphi murderer, which he's not. He's totally fine guy, but
or is he?
I don't know. So police suspected Godot of all of the Baseline killer crimes, but at the time they had DNA from only that one single incident with the sisters.
Right, of course.
They didn't have enough evidence to charge him with any of the murders. But the sexual assault charges would make sure that Godot stayed in jail as police continued to work the case.
Good.
Yeah. Soon enough, ballistics matched the murder weapon of Sofia Nunez, the woman that was murdered in her home, to the other murders committed to the baseline killer.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that point, the police didn't suspect her murder to be connected to him.
See, now I have a very conflicted feeling because if you're a Patreon supporter of this podcast, you know that ballistic forensics is very imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's used to convict a fucking monster, I'm down with it.
Right.
Right?
Well, and luckily, there's more evidence against him. So it's not just the ballistics.
No, of
the
course.
ballistics helps.
He 1,000% did it. But now every time I hear something like that, I'll be like, shit, I don't believe in it until it's convenient for me to believe in it.
I know. I had the same thought. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the striations on the bullets.
Yeah. But this does seem like a good scenario where forensics works. Like if you line up all of the evidence and it's just one of a bunch of things that point in his direction, then it's an effective use of forensics.
Right. I mean, and that's why circumstantial evidence can be helpful.
Right.
You can't just use that to convict somebody, but you can use it to help bolster your case.
Totally.
And I think that these forensic sciences that haven't been scientifically proven can help bolster the case, but you cannot convict somebody on just that alone. Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, they connected her through the ballistics, that murder, and it was a huge turning point in the case because matching the murder weapon to the other crimes meant that the DNA found on her body was going to tell them who the baseline killer was.
Ah!
Yep. And sure enough, when the results came back, they matched the DNA of Mark motherfucking Godot.
Of course they did.
As I looked into Sofia's case more, it turned out that she had met Godot at a bar, and they had been in contact on and off for most of 2005.
No!
Mm-hmm. He had told Sofia that he was single. He also claimed to be a professional athlete, but she didn't believe him. She told a relative, quote, "There's something weird about him, and I think he's married."
Ugh.
Despite her misgivings, he was charming and she allowed him to install a security door on her house.
Fuck.
Phone records show that he had developed an obsession with Sofia. He called her more than 300 times between March and October of 2005.
I don't know. I have never called anyone 300 times.
Well, and you'd think that if they were investigating her murder, they would look at her phone records and be like, it's that guy, that 300 times guy right there.
Yep. Here, this guy 20 times. This guy regular bouts 15, 11. Wow, 300.
Yeah.
That stands
That's
out.
a lot of times. Yeah.
God.
Sadly, he ended his obsession by ruthlessly raping and murdering her.
Fucking awful.
So Godot's wife, Wendy, stood by her husband and proclaimed his innocence to anyone who would listen. She said over and over that her husband wasn't evil or violent, that he was kind and funny and hardworking. Quote, "The guy I saw, he never came off as a jackass," said one of his defense attorneys, Corwin Townsend. "He always was cordial to everyone on our team."
Okay, he's not a jackass. He's a fucking monster.
Right. No, he's not.
There's a big difference. A jackass is the guy who sells you your car.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you're not going to see that side. You're not going to see a dead-eyed black orb fucking
murderer,
homicidal murderer. No.
Shooting you. Yeah.
It's all part of the trick. It's also like I've had a lot of friends who've been in relationships with people who clearly have something very wrong with them. And I think that's the biggest part of the mind fuck. Like that's the hardest part of the grieving of a relationship when it's over with somebody like that is like trying to understand who they really are. Right.
Right. Yes.
So it's like if you're a sociopath,
you know who they are.
Yeah. And sociopaths are the best until they're horrible, you know?
Right.
Like they're so funny, they're so charming, etc., etc. So reconciling that, it's
fucking awful.
Not easy.
Godot had worked as a concrete finisher for a company that set foundations, and it took him to construction sites all over the Phoenix area.
Ugh.
including several near to where his attacks took place. Detectives...
How many more bodies are down there?
Right?
Right?
I know. Detectives said that Godot was known to go to the food truck where Romelia and Myrna were murdered to buy breakfast for his crew. When police finally searched Godot's home, they found mementos of his crimes, like Tina's special mother's ring. They also found traces of blood.
Of course.
After linking Godot to the rest of the Baseline Killer's crimes, he was indicted on 74 more counts, including 9 murders, which would go forward under a different case number that would be tried separately from the attack on the 2 sisters.
Damn it.
The rape case went to trial fairly quickly on July 23rd, 2007, a little more than 10 months after he was arrested. The jury knew nothing about the murders. In fact, the words, quote, Baseline Killer were never mentioned in the entire trial.
I hate that.
So as not to prejudice the jury.
I hate it. I hate it.
No.
I hate it.
Don't know why they didn't try those crimes along with all the rest.
Well, no, I don't understand why they do that either. I'm sure it has something to do with the legality of it that I don't understand. But
yeah, like
I hate
procedures.
it. Exactly. Like this doesn't equal this, and so it can't be whatever.
Right.
Hate it.
At the trial, the defense fought with prosecutors over how the DNA was obtained and whether it was a true match. The police labs had consumed all of the sample swabs, leaving nothing for the defense to test independently.
Ugh.
Yeah, that feels a little
That does
gross.
feel a little gross. Yes.
They also argued that because the experimental DNA testing focused only on the Y chromosome, which is passed genetically among males in a family, the DNA could have been from any one of Godot's male relatives, including brothers and nephews, some of whom had criminal records.
Yeah, but did those guys like get the breakfast burritos at the truck and hang out with the lady and call her 300 times? No.
Right. No. Oh, and this is the sisters. We're not on to Sofia yet. They don't know about her. But yes.
Still. We
Still,
do.
yes.
We know.
Right. Yes. The sisters bravely took the stand, and after telling the jury of their horrendous experience, he was easily found guilty.
Good. 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 I love those sisters.
Mm-hmm. Godot had tried many times to sexually penetrate the sisters, and in many different ways. Each of those attempts was considered a separate crime with a separate sentence that could be run consecutively with all of the others.
Yep.
On December 14th, 2007, Mark Godot was sentenced to 438 years in prison.
Fist pump. Fist pump.
Yep.
That is so many years.
So many years. I mean, fucking finally. But I feel like they're making up for lost time, man.
Well, I think it's too, like, when it just seems like random crimes against poor people or, you know, people of color in dangerous neighborhoods, they're just like, God, yeah, just plea them out, whatever, who cares? You know, like, really horrible. It's horrible to think,
horrible.
but that's, you know, that's the fucking case. But then when suddenly
like
he's a serial killer, like, we got to give him all the years. We've got to really put the hammer down on this guy, even though we didn't.
People are suddenly paying attention.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest difference.
No, that's exactly the biggest difference. So I'm glad that monster's in prison for eternity, but he should have already have been in prison for 427 years or whatever. Twice he should have.
Shouldn't take sudden public interest to hold the system accountable.
No. Meanwhile, marijuana charges give you a life sentence. It's fucking bullshit.
It's such fucking bullshit. So after being sentenced to 438 years, I just wanted to say it again.
Yes, it's a really satisfying amount of time.
He still had to stand trial for the 74 other crimes, including 9 murders.
74 crimes.
Mm-hmm. Godot's next trial did not start until June 2011, nearly 5 years after he was arrested.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that is a lot of crimes to have to, like, comb through and stack up and do all the work. It's a lot of crimes.
Yes. This next little bit that I'm going to read is a direct quote from an article in AZ Central written by Michael Kiefer.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, Susan Cohen, one of the prosecutors who had tried him in his rape trial, invoked the Bible in her opening statements. Beware of the predator who comes to you dressed in sheep's clothing, but inside is a ravenous wolf with an appetite to rape, she said, paraphrasing a verse from the book of Matthew. Mm-hmm. You shall know him by his deeds. Mm-hmm. She then showed photos of the raped women to the jurors. Then she showed photos of those who had died, smiling and alive, and then dead and bleeding on the ground or in the backseat of cars.
This sounds like a very effective presentation.
Fuck, man. Sofia Nunez was shown where her son found her, blood dripping down the side of the bathtub.
Ugh.
He took what he wanted, Cohen said. The trial lasted 4 months. At the end of October 2011, the jury found Godot guilty of 67 crimes, including 9 murders.
Wow.
During the sentencing portion of the trial, Godot refused to cooperate with his elite attorney, and when a mitigation expert began to testify about Godot's impotence, Godot pulled the plug and would go no further in releasing the mitigating factors into why he committed the crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that little baby, that little fucking... can't even think of the right words.
No.
Oh, you can't talk about your impotence, so...
Yeah, so it's all over. You're not getting anything else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is only going to hurt him.
Of course.
Right? I mean, the whole point of mitigating
Right.
factors is so that he doesn't get sentenced to death.
Right. But we're more worried about his dick. Because of course he
Right.
is.
Of course he is. He still asked the jury to spare his life, but they did not. And on November 30th, 2011, the jury sentenced Godot to death 9 times.
Wow.
Yeah. He's currently on death row at Arizona State Prison Complex in Florence, Arizona. He's 55 years old.
Fuck. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And you might think that this is the end of the story.
Yes, that seems like a good place to end the story.
Mm-hmm. But it took police nearly 2 years to catch this brazen killer, right?
Yep.
Just like crazy committing crimes everywhere. In the same neighborhood.
Yes. I mean, couldn't they just like put up a couple tables or something, just hung out?
Something. I don't know. Cameras, a couple extra cameras.
Some cameras, some kind of dog, some sort of system of 5-year-old children. Yes, some bells. Can they just strung a string with some bells and like some tin cans on it?
God, I don't know.
Fuck that. Anyway.
Yeah. Many say authorities bungled the investigation, and if they'd tried harder, worked smarter, they would have caught the baseline killer sooner.
Yeah.
And this is probably true, but to the credit of the police, it turns out that the baseline killer wasn't the only serial murderer stalking the streets of Phoenix in 2005 and 2006.
I mean, what the fuck?
Right?
Yes.
So next episode, we're going to talk about the serial shooters who managed to kill 8 and injure 19 at the exact same time and in a similar area as the baseline killer.
What is happening there?
I don't know, guys. I don't know.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
No, the exact same time.
It's just...
What are the chances?
Well, and I was thinking about it when you first mentioned, I always wonder if you're a cop and a bunch of crimes happen and then you figure out it's a serial killer, are you sort of relieved that you're only chasing like one criminal?
I would say 100% yes.
You're like, okay, thank God there's not like 14 people that we have to track down for all these crimes.
Right. But how long does it take before that? It's easy hindsight to look back and be like, well, clearly, but
yeah,
when it's actually happening,
yes.
And on top of, people were just getting shot left and right.
No,
here.
It's just like a blitzkrieg. It's too much. It's so
way too
intense.
Much.
So much. So crazy.
Yeah.
And then to be like, wait, is there 2 of them?
Yeah, right? Well, it's hard when we'll talk about the next guys next time, but you can't really parcel out the 2 very easily. They usually the serial killers come together because it's all happening at the same time. So we will probably end up talking about the baseline killer a little more next episode as well. I know.
Also, it's in Phoenix, which is like tent city zone, right? That guy was, I don't know, he was Phoenix area, right? Mm-hmm. So you're really pushing it. If you got fucking Yeehaw Bob over there, like just like basically kidnapping prisoners, right? Like indentured servitude style, psychotic, inhumane tent prison,
right?
And you're not even afraid of that. Mm-hmm. You're a real fucking piece of work.
Yep.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Thanks. There you go. That's some awful, fucking terrible, awful shit. I'm sorry to put you through it.
But it's what you came here for.
Yeah, it really is.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. What a fucking lunatic. Mm-hmm. It really is eerie, too, when people do stuff like, I don't know why bopping through the drive-thru really freaks me out. But it's like, I don't know. I understand when somebody like stalks somebody and kills them and does the regular creepy shit. But daytime stuff, like just stuff that's just completely out there, it really scares me.
Yep.
It's also like, I know when I'm supposed to be scared and I know when I'm allowed to not be scared. And daytime, like walking down the street.
Getting your Beyond Burger.
Getting my Beyond Burger, getting my fucking breakfast, cooking up a breakfast taco in my truck with my little partner, having a good old time. Mm-hmm. Those are not times when you're supposed to be scared. So when you have to be scared during those times, I don't like it.
I don't either. Not even for a second.
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Follow the rules, murderers. Follow the rules.
Seriously. Yep. And then it's just these blitzes. It's like, that person looks good. There isn't any premeditation. I mean, he's premeditating that he wants to kill somebody, but he hasn't picked out who, and that's really scary.
It's very scary. Damn it. Good job. I can't wait to hear about the other guy.
I know. That one's crazy, too.
Oh. Just too hot in Phoenix. I hate this street. I hate this place. I'm going to kill it all.
It's so crazy.
Well, in the meantime, what else do we have to talk about? Oh, Laura and I had a big breakthrough in the Paul Shoe. Is that his name? Paul Shoe case?
Phil
Shoe. Philip Shoe. Yep. So Laura was driving to Chicago the other day, and she had a bag of trail mix on her lap. I think it had been in the car. Like, we drive a lot, and so we always have, like, snacks around.
Yeah.
Luckily, she looked down before she put her hand in the bag, and it was full of worms and maggots. Full. To the point that which like I would
moths?
Do too. No, worms and maggots, like little fucking critters in there chowing down on our trail mix. And
I was just thinking of like moth larvae. Those are like little worms.
I don't know. Trail mix boogies. And she hucked the thing out the window, which, we're total tree huggers, so we don't litter. But it was
this is an emergency.
It's an emergency. And I said, that's what happened to Philip's shoe. Because if she's like, thank God I looked down before I put my hand in it, because what if I put my hand in it? I was like, you would have cut your nipples off and smashed yourself into a tree.
Oh, no.
Don't you think?
Yes.
Can you imagine? Just wiggle, smoosh in there. Probably get under your fingernails a little bit.
Stop. I think the reason why I was thinking, because I've had moth infestations.
Yes.
And those fucking larvae they would crawl on their ceiling. It was so disgusting.
Gross.
It was so gross.
But yeah, could have been pantry moths, could have been devil babies, little baby devils in my wife's.
Regardless, I'm so glad that she got it out of the car before she cut her own nipples off.
And smashed into a tree.
Gross.
Because I would do that. If that happened to me, I would cut my own nipples off and smash into a tree. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you all? I think that's grounds for that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad she didn't eat it. It's
like
nothing
more. Nothing.
It's fucking awful. Do you want to do some Patreon shout-outs?
Yes, I do.
Speaking of pantry moms.
Speaking of nipple cutoffs. You people make us so happy when I cut our nipples off and smash into a tree.
We want to give a big thank you to a dear friend of ours, Rebecca S.
Yay, Rebecca. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys. Be safe out there.
They're
in Texas.
Yep. Oh, officially a part of the Texas Coven.
Mm-hmm. We also like to thank Jim M.
Yay, Jim. Good friend of my wife's from college. Hi, Jim.
Yeah,
You're the best.
Jim. And another big thank you to Bronte J.
That's a fucking awesome name.
Yeah.
I want to be
Bronte.
Bronte J.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your support.
Yes.
You want to hear us shout you out? Head on over to Patreon. Sign up.
$3, $5, $10.
Yeah, we've got some very cute merchandise coming up.
We do. And a store. We've got a store coming.
Yep.
My wife, she's been hard at work designing merch for us. Mm-hmm. And go to laurafosberg.com if you want to see the level of art that she does. She's kind of a big deal. And
She's
so
amazing.
It's very exciting that she's doing our merch for us.
We're very lucky, and I'm feeling pretty guilty about it. Even my husband, Ryan, was like, she just like doing that for you guys?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I told her we'd buy her a backpack from our own
Okay.
merch
Well,
store.
at least.
Yeah. It's like $60.
Yeah, man. Do you want a $60 backpack? You can get one.
Yeah, no, it's fucking adorable, great, amazing. I'm very grateful for her for doing it for us.
I am too.
And so
really, very much.
Go buy it so that we can do this full time and she can do nothing full time other than make art, because that's mostly what she does for a living. But
yep, make it extra. We shouldn't have to do it unless she wants to.
Exactly.
And then it will be worth her while for designing really cute shit for us.
Today she's like, wait, so we're really going to do mobile barbecue party? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, awesome. And then she starts producing it out loud. She's like, okay, we'll get in touch with some local barbecue places. I was like, you got it. She's like, you guys have to wear cute outfits. I'm like,
yep.
Bingo. So Laura's fully on board. That's really what she wants to do, is just tour around with us to the mobile barbecue party. And
shit, yeah. I mean, Ryan will totally be in charge of the food.
He's such a good cook.
And what else? We will find a truck. Who's got a truck out there, you guys? That can haul a smoker. I don't know.
I think we'll just like commission local smokers.
No, I 100% picture us in a van or like a truck of some sort with a smoker on the back that says,
like, has a big "They Will Kill" logo on the side of it.
Well, yeah, mobile barbecue party,
and then
and
then parentheses pigs,
right?
And tofu. They will kill in parentheses pigs /tofu.
Yep.
Mobile barbecue party 2021.
Whether we use the smoker or not, we got to haul one around just to make my dreams
come to life. It's fine. It is more dramatic. It is more adorable. Like, what are they doing? What are they hauling that thing? Like, come along. Like, Forrest Gump style. Just have a little caravan of people following us around the nation eating barbecue.
That's right. Throwing our "They Will Kill" stickers out the window at the door. So now suddenly it's like turning into a parade in my mind.
I know, like, just some lady coming out of the post office gets bashed in the head with a wad of stickers. I think you assaulted me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's a party without a little assault?
That's what I've always said.
No, I'm super excited. So we'll have the merch store up and running.
Yes, we'll put a little thing about it. That'll be up probably this week. We got a new coven, too. Let me go to the listener. Where is it? Come on, stats. Oh, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We officially have a coven. I'm going to give the credit to our cousin Logan. Hi, Logan, who's a listener. We love you, and we love our new Philadelphia coven.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Islington, England, man. You guys are still hanging fucking tough. Dallas, Chicago, Islington.
There you go. Who knew?
Makes me so happy.
Me too.
You all make me so happy. And if we don't make a living doing this podcast, I'm going to start making true crime memes for a living, because that's a new thing that I've...
Heck yes. You're so good at it.
I'm like, it's my bedtime story to myself. I'm trying to wind down for the day to just start making true crime memes and cracking myself up.
I love it.
So if you want to see my masterworks, go to They Will Kill on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. If you want to see more about us, go to theywillkill.com. If you want to email us, go to no, it's not that. Google.com. Click on your Gmail app. Or go to yahoo.com. I'm now going to list all of the email options.
Please don't.
Yeah. Comcast. You can use your Comcast.net. You can use...
Smack your face. You're lucky we're not in person.
Hotmail. They Will Kill Podcast at gmail.com.
At AOL.com.
At AOL.prodigy /assault. Or They Will Kill Dick Pics at gmail.com. Get over there. Send us your stuff. Send us your listener stories, spooky stories.
Yep. Should we tell them?
What?
what we decided to name it?
Oh, yeah. It's called The X-Files, guys.
Duh. We were going to set out like a poll, but we were like, no, it's the best one.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
a clear winner. Why even bother the people? Why even take up a moment of your time?
That's right. So if you want to be part of the X-Files, give us your spooky stories.
Yep. They can be real.
Hero stories.
They can be fake. Hero stories, too. I have a feeling this is just going to go in the direction of spooky stories, but we'll keep
never know.
saying hero stories. Maybe somebody's got a good one.
Yep. I think Courtney and I might start the episode 1 of X-Files.
Yes.
With our own spooky stories.
Yes, I have a couple.
I did too.
One of them's really fucking spooky. One of them's less spooky, but still fun to talk about.
Yeah. So we'll get the ball rolling. Then you guys have to help us out.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Good night.
I know. Thank you, AJ Bergantz, for our music.
Yes, thank you so much.
We love you. We love it. Rate, review, subscribe, please.
Yes, please.
Yep.
Got a couple reviews
We recently
lately.
I know, we got one that some guy was like, stop talking about your white privilege.
Oh, yeah. Fucking big.
So if you want to cover up his review, which is shitty and stupid, then do that.
Yeah, do it. His name is Big Dick McGillicuddy.
I forgot. How did I forget that?
How could you forget that? He's going to become a new mascot of the podcast.
Yep. And remember,
something I've been thinking a lot about lately, partially spurred on by Big Dick McGillicuddy's message, but other life events. Just whenever you are at a crossroads or have a choice to make, just think, do I want to be right or do I want to be helpful? It's something that I've been thinking about a lot, because I think right now especially there's a lot of pressure to be right when we should be focusing on being helpful, like enacting change, actually making a difference. Saying the right thing isn't necessarily going to help anybody.
Right.
If your intentions are askew. So just ask yourself that. Just think about what the outcome of what you were about to say or do is going to be, and if it's going to have a ripple effect that's positive in this world, or if it's going to shut people down or make things worse.
Right. Well, especially in a time of growth and change where you're trying to figure out how to do better and be better.
Yeah. Yep.
Expect to do it wrong.
Yep.
So that you can learn how to do it well.
Exactly. And if you want to see a good example of how to do it right, go to our Apple Podcasts and look up Big Dick McGillicuddy's review, because he nailed it right on the head. Kinda annoying is the title of the review. Annoying. How often are they going to talk about their white privilege? Every episode, apparently.
Yep. Get used to it.
Yeah, get used to it, because I'm right all the time. My way or the highway, Big Dick McGillicuddy. No, I love that guy. Guys,
yeah, man.
It's fucking. I'm down to hang with you, Big Dick. You're my people. All
right. We love you guys so much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. We love you so much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.